special rooms. They'd have like just the outline of the water. You can only see 10 miles on the water anyway, and you're trying to pick out whose ship was who by just seeing these on the surface there. And of course the aircraft, right, they had these flying overhead too, and you were to identify them ours or Japanese. Well, we weren't in the German area, so just Japanese. And we did a lot of marching and calisthenics, but mostly the recognition of ships and airplanes. We call it night vision, because you were in a darkened room and then all you saw was the horizon. And we had 2 days of firefighting. They had compartments of a ship filled with oil, and they set it afire. And then we were putting that out, so in case you had fire on board ship, you'd be familiar with it. And we had 2 days of anti-aircraft over Lake Michigan. A plane towed a sleeve behind it. And you had 20 millimeter, and you tried to hit the sack, hit the sleeve. And every 7th round was a tracer, so you could see where you were shooting, where your bullets were going. And we never did shoot the plane down.
Yeah.
The pilot says, I don't know, I don't like being up there. Oh, it was quite an experience. And my dad was a good disciplinarian, so they didn't intimidate me any. I just said, I'm here to stay until I get out. Then, after boot camp, I came home for a week, and then I was, we were put on a troop train and we went to San Francisco, California. And I was there as a mail clerk, a regular post office job. And we sorted mail for every division in the Pacific, the air mail, the regular first class, and their regular packaging too. But the folks that send packages to the kids and went through there, and then they'd load them on a ship and deliver them to wherever they were at. The sacks they had there were coded, number so-and-so went to this place, or some, just all over the Pacific. And of course the airmail, why, they went the same way. Well, let's see, I was there until January of '46, and I went aboard ship. Of course the war was over then. There was 1,300 men on that ship. So they're pretty crowded quarters. This was a small cruiser, which meant the big guns they had here was 6 inches. The regular cruiser, or the bigger cruiser, were 8-inch guns, and they had 20 millimeters and 40 millimeters. And they had one 3-inch gun that was for shooting a long distance off for accuracy. And we also had a plane on the fantail, and they would go up for observation. Are you familiar with a catapult?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, they put this plane on a catapult, stick it out over the edge of the ship, and then let him ram it wide open, and bang, he'd go off. He'd get down like that, just about skim the water, and then up he'd go. And to bring it back aboard, see this crane here? There was a net they dragged out behind. The crane switched around, and the plane had a hook on its pontoon. It would taxi up onto the net, and then they'd pick it up and put it back aboard ship again.
Wow.
So we had 2 planes. They carried one down underneath, the wings folded up on it, and they were for observation. They hoped to get back, you know, without getting shot up. Well, the Hellcats, they were armed, but this one wasn't. Out on Baldwin Road on a farm. I was born and raised there, 610 Baldwin Road. I don't know if you're familiar with when you go Seymour Lake, go up over the hill, Just as you're going down on the right-hand side is that white farmhouse. I was born and raised there, and I had one deferment so I could finish school without going in the service. And then I had another deferment coming, and I told my dad, well, I may as well, I want to join the Navy. So I did. Went there and left the farm. And let's see, I spent a year at Michigan State College. Came back and worked 10 years for American Aggregates. And then 30 years we had our own insurance business. Joyce and I run it, and our son. And we retired from there 1961. No, I'm sorry, 86, yeah. We were 61 when we retired, yeah. Yeah, I had a brother-in-law that was in the Navy, and I don't know, I always figured you had a place to sleep, you know, in the Army or Marines. You slept in mud or foxholes, or anyway, they used to have pretty good food on board ship, so I figured we'd always have a place to sleep or eat. If we didn't, why then you're going to sink or swim. But no, that was the reason that I figured that I just didn't want to be marching and running in sand and blood and so on. But he died actually the year I went in service. He got killed in a plane crash. But no, he was over in the other theater. He was in North African theater, and he was on a TBM, torpedo bomber medium, and they had a bay in the bottom that they could drop torpedoes, and he was also a gunner on this plane, and they get down pretty close to the surface of the water, and then let the torpedo go and then pull up this way. But he was killed practicing dive bombing, and but he was over the African theater. They brought back prisoners of war, German prisoners, and brought them to the United States at the time. Oh, I was aboard ship 6 months, and the most we were out to sea. We went from here to Hawaii, Guam, Saipan, Philippines, Okinawa, Japan, China. So we hit quite a few ports. They used to have these, they called them racks. They were 6 high bunks, and when you got out of bed in the morning, you'd push the racks up like this, and then you had a better passageway to get through. But no, the guy above me, he was probably maybe a foot from my face. No, it didn't bother me that way. No, you were open on this side. If you fell out, you went on the deck. So. Oh, I was home here yet. You see, that was 1941. Yeah, I was still in school here. I was still in Oxford at that time. We were at Hawaii, Pearl Harbor, when we went overseas, and they still had all these ships in the harbor that was half sunk and half blew up. And, but no, I had nothing to do with that. Then we were back in Pearl Harbor, my wife and I, a few years ago, and had it all, of course, cleaned up. They had the U.S.S. Arizona you could visit, other things they had in the museum. When we left Chicago, they never even told us that we were going to California. But after we hit the state of Iowa, I knew which direction we were going. Yeah. So, and the porters on the train, you talk to them and ask them, where are we stopping at, or where are we going? And they'd say, boss, I can't tell you. And we would even set, where it was necessary, on a siding to let freight trains go through, because they were carrying guns or ammunition or tanks or something like that. So the freight trains went ahead of us. Then we gradually got I think it took us 3 days to get this is right. The post office was like downtown San Francisco, and I worked there every day. Then we had a night shift. I worked the night shift. They alternated. What was it? The month of nights, the month of days. And so you had to be there at 6 o'clock in the morning. You know, I like the night shift better.